Hello, everyone. Thank you guys so much for listening today. Today's episode will be a little bit different than our normal Farming on Purpose content. This episode is a bedtime story designed to help your kids settle into sleep. It is a Christmassy story, but does not have to be listened to on Christmas Eve. It starts with a gentle relaxation exercise and then follows a story that captures the wonder of Christmas and the beauty of childhood on a farm. So the story's pacing, sound, and everything about it is designed to help your children wind down and just have a special Christmas bedtime story. This story is actually based on a real memory of my own from when my oldest son was 16 months old and our Australian Shepherd had her own set of puppies on Christmas Eve. So I hope that you enjoy this fun little project I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and I hope that your kids enjoy it as well. Find a cozy spot where you can relax and get comfortable. Maybe you're already tucked into bed or snuggled up in your favorite chair. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly, just like you're making a tiny cloud on a cold winter day. Let's do that again. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. As you get comfortable, wiggle your toes a little bit. Now let them rest completely. Feel how warm and cozy they are. Let your legs become heavy and relaxed, like they're sinking into fresh, soft snow. Think about all the wonderful things your body did today. Maybe you helped someone, or played outside, or gave someone a big hug. Your body works so hard for you every day, and now it's time to let it rest. Let your hands become soft and quiet. Your little fingers go to sleep. Let your shoulders relax and let go of any worries or wondering about what tomorrow will bring. Now think about 3 things that made you smile today. They can be tiny things, like a friendly wave or a warm cookie, or big things, like being with people you love. Remember, you are safe, you are loved, and you are special. Just like every snowflake is different, you have your own wonderful way of bringing joy to the world. Now let me take you to a special farm on Christmas Eve where something magical is about to happen. The sun was setting early on Christmas Eve, painting the snowy farm in shades of pink and gold. Inside the old farmhouse, the Miller family was finishing their early dinner. Ethan sat at the kitchen table, watching the last rays of sunlight make long shadows across the fresh snow. At 8 years old, he felt the special weight of responsibility that came with being old enough to help with real farm work. But he was still excited that it was Christmas Eve. The smell of Mom's chicken noodle soup hung in the air as everyone started pulling on their warm boots and winter coats. Emma, who was 11, was helping 5-year-old Lucas with his mittens and trying to convince him he really did need both of them. Mom was bundling baby Lily into her warm carrier, talking softly to her about the animals they were going to see. Ethan glanced over at Lady, their farm dog, who had been acting differently all day. Usually, she would be the first one at the door when it was chore time, but today she had barely left her favorite spot on the old green couch. Ethan remembered the day they got Lady, how tiny she had been, and now here she was about to have puppies of her own. "You okay, girl?" Ethan asked softly, kneeling beside her. Lady's tail gave a little wag, and she turned her warm brown eyes toward him. She had been pacing between her spot on the couch and the whelping box they'd prepared in the mudroom, full of clean blankets and newspapers. Ethan had helped Dad set it up last week, making sure it was just right. "Ready for chores?" Dad asked, adjusting his hat. "The animals are counting on us." Ethan nodded, but couldn't help feeling worried about leaving Lady. "Maybe I should stay with her?" he suggested. Mom smiled. "Lady knows what she needs. Remember how she always knows when a storm is coming, or how she can tell when one of the cows is going to calve? We need to trust her instincts." The cold air hit their faces as they stepped outside. Ethan loved this moment every evening. The transition from the warm house to the crisp winter air, the way the barn lights made the fresh snow sparkle like his sister Emma's craft glitter had spilled across the whole farm. Their breath came out in little clouds that danced away on the winter breeze. Lucas pointed excitedly at the Christmas star, bright and clear in the darkening sky. "Look, just like in the story we read." As they walked to the barn, Ethan thought about all the Christmas Eves that had come before. He remembered being Lucas's age, barely able to carry the cat food bucket, and how grown up Emma had seemed then. Now he was helping his little brother, showing him how to listen for the different sounds animals make when they are at peace or when they are worried about how close you are. The familiar warmth of the barn welcomed them as they stepped inside. The sweet smell of hay mixed with the earthy scent of animals, and the soft sounds of contentment filled the air. Ethan loved this moment too, the way the barn felt like its own special world, especially on winter evenings. Mom settled baby Lily more comfortably in her carrier as she walked over to check on Rosie, their milk cow who was due to calve soon. Ethan followed, drawn to the peaceful way Rosie chewed her cud, her big brown eyes watching them calmly. "Looking closer every day," Mom said softly, running her hand along Rosie's side. "See how her sides have dropped, Ethan, and how full her udder is getting?" Ethan nodded, remembering other calves being born. The excitement of coming out to the barn to find a new life had begun. He wondered if Lady's puppies would come the same way. Emma headed to the feed room to get grain for the horses. Star, Thunder, and Old Bell nickered their greetings, and Ethan smiled at the different pitch each horse had, like they were singing their own special song. He followed his sister, carrying a second feed bucket. "Feel how warm it is in here?" Emma said, scooping the grain. "The feed room always stays cozy." The rich smell of sweet feed filled the air as they measured out portions. Ethan loved watching the horses' soft noses wiggle as they snuffled their feed, the gentle sounds of contentment as they ate. Meanwhile, Dad was hooking up the tractor to the battery charger, his breath making clouds in the beam of his flashlight. "Think she'll start for us, Ethan?" he asked. Everyone held their breath as he turned the key. The engine cranked once, twice, 3 times, then rumbled to life. "Can I help?" Ethan climbed up carefully beside his father. He loved this job, getting to ride on the tractor and watch as Dad scooped up the bales on the forks and put each one into the feeders. Together they loaded them one by one, Dad teaching without words how to poke them just right with the forks so they would not fall off or fall apart. The tractor moved slowly through the snowy pen to the cattle feeders. Each bump and dip was a little jostle to Ethan. He'd made this trip plenty of times with Dad in all kinds of weather. The headlights of the tractor cut through the growing darkness, making the snow sparkle. The cows started to gather around their feeders, their dark shapes moving closer as they recognized the sound of the tractor. Dad and Ethan dumped the bales into the feeders, then cut the netting off of them so the cows could eat. The cows' warm breath made clouds in the cold air. Ethan watched them sort themselves out, the younger ones hoping to get a spot at the next feeder after the older cows shoved them out of the way. Each one found their place. Meanwhile, Lucas had the important job of feeding the barn cats. Ethan could hear him talking to them as they wound around his legs. Lucas giggled, trying to walk without tripping as the cats meowed their encouragement. "Need some help?" Ethan called, watching his little brother concentrate hard on not spilling the food. "I got it," Lucas said proudly. though he welcomed Ethan's steadying hand when Ethan got off the tractor and came to help. The cats dove in eagerly, purring their appreciation. The fall calves were especially playful tonight, kicking up their heels in the fresh snow. Ethan leaned on the fence to watch them, remembering how wobbly they'd been just months ago. Now they raced around their mothers, stopping occasionally to nurse before running off to play again. "They've grown so much," Emma said, joining him at the fence. "Remember when that little red one was born? You were the one who spotted her." Ethan nodded, feeling proud. She was easy to spot because she wasn't black like the other ones. He still wasn't sure how she'd gotten to be there. He'd been the first to notice the mother cow when she was licking the little pile of brown and reddish fur on the ground. It made him think of Lady back at the house. Would she show the same signs? Would he know when it was time for her puppies to come? Mom's voice called from the chicken coop. Time to close up for the night. Lucas ran to help gather the last eggs, carefully placing each one in the basket as if it were made of gold. Their smooth shells were always fun to hold in your palm, though when they were cold, it froze your little fingers. The chickens were already settling on their roosts. Soft clucking sounds filled the warm air of the coop. As they finished the last of the chores, Ethan's thoughts kept drifting back to Lady. He remembered the day she'd first come to the farm, how she'd followed him everywhere, learning about all the animals. Now she was teaching him something new about trust and patience. The walk back to the house seemed longer than usual. The Christmas lights they'd strung along the porch railings twinkled against the snow and through the windows. Ethan could see the Christmas tree lights glowing warmly. What would they find when they got inside? Lady was still on the couch, but she'd rearranged all the blankets again. She looked up at them with those knowing eyes, her little tail stub wagging crazy. The mudroom blankets had been added to her nest, dragged one by one to where she wanted them. "Why would she do that?" Emma said. "She needs to go take them back to her box." "Should we try to move her?" Lucas asked worriedly, his coat only half off. Dad shook his head, helping Lucas with his zipper. "Lady knows best. This is her gift to give in her own way and time. Now, who's ready for some hot chocolate while we watch Rudolph?" While Mom made hot chocolate in the kitchen, everyone got changed into warm pajamas. The house felt cozy after the cold work outside. Emma helped Lucas find his favorite Christmas pajamas, the ones with candy canes all over them. Ethan pulled on his warm flannel pants, but kept glancing towards the living room, not wanting to miss anything with Lady. "Can we put out cookies for Santa now?" Lucas asked, bouncing a little with excitement as they settled in the living room. The Christmas tree lights made everything feel magical, and Lady's spot on the couch had become the center of everyone's attention. "First, hot chocolate," Mom said, carefully passing out steaming mugs topped with tiny marshmallows. "Careful, it's hot. Don't spill." Ethan sat on the floor near Lady, watching how she shifted every now and then. How her eyes would close contentedly and then open to check on everyone. She seemed to appreciate having her family close by, though it looked like she was panting a little bit. As Rudolph played on the TV, Dad brought out the special plate they used every year for Santa's cookies. "Should we leave him the hot chocolate chip ones or the sugar cookie ones this year?" "Both," Lucas decided, carefully arranging them on the plate while Emma poured a glass of milk. They placed them by the fireplace, just as they had every Christmas Eve for as long as Ethan could remember. Lady watched all of this with interest, but she was becoming more restless. She would get up, turn around, lay back down, and rearrange her blankets over and over. Ethan noticed she was panting more now, too. "Is she okay?" he whispered to Mom, who had been watching Lady closely. "She's just getting ready," Mom assured him softly. "Remember how the mama cats act before their kittens come, or the cows before they calve? Lady's body knows exactly what to do." As the evening went on, they watched another Christmas show, but no one was paying much attention. Even baby Lily seemed to sense something was happening, watching Lady with wide eyes from Mom's lap. Dad read them the night before Christmas, but this year it felt different, like they were waiting for two kinds of Christmas magic. Finally, Mom said it was time for Lucas and Lily to go to bed. Lucas protested, not wanting to miss anything, but his eyes were getting heavy. "Tell you what," Emma said, taking his hand, "I'll help you brush your teeth and get ready for bed. Then I'll come tell you as soon as anything happens with Lady." Ethan watched his siblings head upstairs, grateful that he was old enough to stay up a little longer. Lady had become very focused now, her eyes getting a very determined look. The house grew quieter as the evening deepened. Emma came back downstairs after helping Lucas get into bed and making sure he was comfy, reporting that he had made her promise 3 times to wake him if anything happened. She settled into the big armchair with her sketchbook, drawing pictures of what she thought the puppies would look like. Ethan sat cross-legged near Lady's couch, talking to her softly about nothing in particular, about the stars outside, about the calves playing in the snow, about Christmas morning coming soon. Lady listened with her eyes half closed, occasionally reaching out to lick his hand, as if saying, "I know you're worried, but it's all okay." "Look," Dad whispered, nodding toward Lady. She had started to focus intently now, her whole body becoming very still before shifting positions again. Mom moved quietly to sit closer, her gentle hands stroking Lady's head. "Should we do something?" Ethan asked, his heart beating faster. "Just be quiet and calm, and give Lady her space if she wants it. Lady knows exactly what to do. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give is just being present while something wonderful happens." Time seemed to move differently in these late hours of Christmas Eve. The Christmas tree lights made soft patterns on the ceiling, and outside the window snow had begun to fall again, big, gentle flakes that danced in the porch light. Lady shifted again, and this time something was different. Her breathing changed, and she began to focus. Ethan held his breath, remembering all the times he'd seen new life arrive on the farm. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was not. He worried. He hoped Lady's puppies would be okay. Lady, his special friend, had been around since he was a baby. The first puppy arrived just as the old clock in the hallway chimed 11. Lady knew exactly what to do, cleaning her baby thoroughly as the tiny pep made little mewling sounds. The puppy was black and white, with a small white tip on its tail. "Look at that," Dad whispered. "Lady's doing perfectly." Emma sketched quickly, trying to capture the moment. Between puppies, Lady would look up at her family with such trust in her eyes as if to say, "See, I knew you'd want to be here for this." The second puppy came quickly after the first. This one was tricolored, like its mama, with brown eyes and eyebrows that made it look surprised. The third and fourth were born close together, both black and white, but with different patterns that made them look like negatives of each other. Between each puppy, Lady would rest briefly, accepting soft words of encouragement and gentle pats from her family. Ethan was amazed at how calm she remained, how she knew exactly how to care for each tiny life as it arrived. They wondered if there'd be more puppies, or if 4 was it. The 5th puppy was the smallest, tricolored, but with a perfect white star on its chest. Lady paid attention to this little one, cleaning it until it was making strong, squeaking sounds. "Just like you," Ethan, Mom said softly, "always taking special care of the little ones." The last puppy arrived just before midnight, another black and white one with a splash of white that looked like a Christmas star across its face. As if knowing her job was done, Lady relaxed completely, looking over her 6 puppies with pure pride as they all found their way to nurse. "Should I go wake Lucas?" Emma whispered, but Dad shook his head. "Let them sleep," he said softly. "The puppies will be even stronger by morning. What a beautiful Christmas gift Lady has given us." The family sat together in the warm glow of Christmas tree lights, watching Lady tend to her puppies. Each tiny pup had found its spot to nurse, and Lady looked up occasionally at her human family, with pure contentment in her eyes, the pride of a mother well pleased with her work. Ethan wanted a hot chocolate refill, but didn't want to move from his spot near Lady. He watched in fascination as the puppies wiggled and squeaked, already showing their different personalities. When Mom returned with fresh hot chocolate, they all sat quietly, taking in the magic of the moment. The snow was still falling outside, adding to the peaceful feeling of the late hour. Every now and then, Lady would lick at each puppy, counting them in her own way, making sure all 6 were warm and fed. "You know," Dad said softly, "every Christmas Eve is special, but some are extra special, the ones that teach us something important." He smiled at Ethan. "Remember how worried we all were about Lady? But she knew better than we did what she needed." Ethan nodded, understanding flowing through him. He'd thought about all the times on the farm when things hadn't gone according to plan, when animals surprised them, when weather changed suddenly, when new life arrived unexpectedly. Somehow it worked out, most of the time, often better than they could have planned. And when it didn't, they learned. "Time for bed," Mom said finally, noting how Emma's eyes were getting heavy. "These little ones will be even stronger in the morning." Ethan didn't want to leave, but he knew Mom was right. As they stood up, Lady looked at them trusting, knowing her family would be nearby. Dad arranged a small lamp in the corner with just enough light to check on Lady through the night. Upstairs, they took turns in the bathroom, everyone extra quiet so as not to wake Lucas and Lily. Ethan could hear his brother's soft breathing as he peeked into the room, excited to see his face in the morning when he discovered the puppies. Ethan changed into his warmest pajamas. The window was frosted at the edges, and he could still see snow falling in the yard light. The barn was a dark shape in the distance, and he thought about the animals settled in for the night in their pens. Rosie the cow, the horses, the chickens, the cats in the yard, and the calves next to their mamas. As he crawled into bed, Mom came in to say goodnight. She sat on the edge of his bed, just like she did every night. "Quite a special Christmas Eve," she said softly. "Do you think the puppies knew it was Christmas?" Ethan asked. Mom smiled. "I think they knew it was exactly the right time to arrive, just like the best gifts often do." She tucked his blanket around him. "And you know what? You helped Lady feel safe and loved enough to choose her perfect spot." As Ethan drifted toward sleep, he could hear Dad checking on Lady one more time downstairs. The house felt full of peace and promise. Tomorrow would bring Christmas morning with all its excitement and joy. But right now, in this moment, everything was perfect just as it was. His last thoughts before falling asleep were of Lady's proud eyes, the tiny puppy's first moments. Sometimes the best Christmas gifts aren't wrapped at all. Gifts that we faithfully wait and hope for, just like Ethan had waited for Lady's puppies to arrive safe and sound. Merry Christmas. Sleep tight.